Good morning and happy FriYay. It's FriYay. That's the wrong button.
10.
No. That's the one I wanted. That's the happy FriYay DJ horn. Absolutely Friday worthy. You know what? Welcome back. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, where I get to answer your traffic and police questions. And why do I get the honor of answering your traffic and police questions? Well, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I work at Traffic Services. Traffic Services is a citywide unit that handles all the traffic investigation for the city and enforcement of the Highway Traffic Act. And I do the education kind of thing. I talk to you about stuff and things that makes a difference on the road, whether it be, trying to make sure that you know all the rules so you don't have questions about I center myself in here. So you don't have questions that you don't know the answers to without having that support, because sometimes it's not easy to find someone to speak to about these things. You know, there's not a cop at every corner waiting to answer your questions. And if there was, well, I wouldn't need to be here. But I am here. So let's talk about stuff and things. We are being broadcast. Yes, we are on Instagram Live. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, if you're on any one of those platforms, know that you can get a hold of me by using the Q&A function if it works for you. Let's see. We're working on fixing this. No, Q&A still doesn't work. All right. Q&A doesn't work on TikTok. I was really hoping they're working on the problem, from what I understand. Maybe the next update will come back. Anyway, it used to be that you could use the Q&A function in live. Doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for other people. I don't know. In any case, put it in the chat and we will try to get your questions answered. I've got CJ and friends in the chat who are trying to bring me all sorts of questions on other apps so I can see them clearly and easily, because the chat's just too busy. Please don't spam. Please be kind. We have lots of folks in the chat that just want to get their questions answered too. And sometimes people, are so eager to be seen and be heard that they repeatedly post the same thing. We will unfortunately remove people and mute people who do that. So don't do that. It's not nice. Be kind. Rewind. We have, what do we got here? We've got friends. Sean Chen, happy FriYay. Yes, thank you for the message, Sean. Sean is a friend to the show. He comes out to all sorts of events. We've seen him all over the place. He's like Spider-Man, just swinging in, saying hello and taking off again. Actually, you were very involved at Honda Indy. He was helping with stickers and distribution of said stickers. We have do I have any junior officer stickers? Hold on. I have a roll somewhere. Did I give it away? I have a roll. I have another. Come on, really? No junior officer? What do I have close by? I have trading cards, horse trading cards. Yes, we're mounted unit, has fancy stuff. We actually tried to make them in the motor squad, but it didn't work out. At least I don't think they ever came about. What is this? Oh my goodness. We have a question coming in from YouTube, and I'm going to get to it in just 1 second. And Steve Key, what's going on? Steve Key's coming from LinkedIn. He's with Zoomer Radio. Actually, no, you're on the classical side of things, but he is a radio guy. Thanks for the hello. Let's see here. Okay, I want to get something out of the way. We have a little announcement. It's actually the same announcement. It's the same announcement that happens at the beginning of every show, and then it modifies with some a little different information. What is that information? Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Where are they today? What are they? They are a group of dedicated officers that they specifically go out and issue tickets to drivers who choose to drive in a manner which leads to serious injury and death. And people say, "Wow, they must be doing some really wild stuff." You wouldn't believe how simple it is to make the roads safer when you simply go after the big four: speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Those activities are known to significantly increase the chance of both serious injury and death on our roads. It's preventable, and it's unacceptable when it happens. So we go out and we issue tickets. At least they do. I sit here and talk to you on TikTok and social media platforms. If you're watching on Twitter, my apologies in advance. You cannot ask questions through the chat. You can, however, go to trafficcop.ca. That will allow you to go to our volley space. And I can tell you that there's no questions in the queue there, but you can use it whenever you want. That's not true. I said there were no questions. There's 2 questions that came in earlier. Let's see here. There was what's the first one? This one is something for me to look into. Apparently there's a TikTok from 2 employees at a radio station and talking about expired things in the staff fridge. They wanted to know they had something from milk from 2020. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no. So they want to know what's most expired in our fridge. I've yet to do that, but that might have to be the TikTok that I record after the show. All right, let's get back into the things. The first question is coming in from Jide. Can a nursing mother temporarily remove a crying child who needs to be fed from a car seat in order to breastfeed whilst the vehicle is in motion? No, you can't do that. It's not legal. It's certainly not safe. There are all sorts of ways that my wife would contort herself to make things work, but taking the child out of a car seat, even for a moment while a vehicle is in motion, is extremely dangerous. And can you be charged? Absolutely, you can be charged. It's different if there was a medical emergency, and that would be coinciding with the driver pulling over immediately to deal with it. But you wouldn't take the baby out for any reason that I can think of. That would be legal and justified. All right. That was a pretty heavy question in the beginning. Well, heavy because I brought it to medical emergency. It wasn't heavy when it was just about breastfeeding. Okay. Is it? Oh, am I related to Ben Shapiro? Do I look like I'm related to Ben Shapiro? I mean, really? No, I'm not related to Ben Shapiro, and I often cite the same three reasons why I don't believe we're related. First off, I don't believe that our height would suggest we're anywhere near the same, sharing the same genes. He is not as tall as I am. I'm 6'5", despite the fact that you're on both sides, Steve. Okay, good. Didn't realize. Yes, I am 6'5". He is not. He has lovely hair. I have less. His voice is not low. Mine tends to be low. In any case, here we are. We're not related. Although, I've never been invited over, and maybe we have. Could be. I don't know. Is it illegal to remove the warning stickers on my car, such as on the sun visor and mirrors? Is it illegal? I am not aware of a law. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I'm not aware of a law that would prevent you from doing that. Yeah, I didn't think sun visors were required equipment, but you know what? Why do you want it to remove it? Is it for show? Maybe you could cover it with something. I don't know. They're good reminders. I know a lot of children who know that they should be in the back seat until they're 14 based on those stickers. They are worthy of viewing, but I don't know if they're illegal. Does it have a warning on them that says "Do not remove for penalty of law"? That could be a hint. Can you get your license back after 3 DUIs? It depends on what happens in court, but it's unlikely because lifetime bans are a real thing, and as they should be. Oh, we're having unstable connections today. That's great. Is it raining again? So Steve Key, I was saying that he was on the classical side of Zoomer, which I don't recall the call letters or the channel. My apologies. But he is also on Zoomer, which broadcasts both on AM and FM in Toronto. If you're looking for radio opportunities to listen to some good content, and I'll be on the radio. I'll be there on Saturday, virtually. I'm calling in to Dave's Corner Garage tomorrow, 10 o'clock. I'll be towards the later half of the show. In any case, let's get back to some more questions. What's the question? Can I produce a photo of my license or my insurance if I don't have a physical copy on me? You can produce what you like. However, it does not meet the requirements for surrendering upon demand a license or insurance. Proof of insurance has to be the actual insurance card, unless it's an electronic copy. My nose is itchy. That is provided by the insurance company. So if they give you an app and that app provides an electronic version, that's okay. All right. I got some more questions to roll back to. Oh, I got a question if there's a limit to motorcycle bar height. If you mean handlebar, yes. Although I don't remember the numbers offhand. It's based on compressed seat height, and I used to know, but I don't know now. So this is on my to-do list of things to look up. I don't know if it's 12 and a half inches. If something comes to mind, I'll see if I can find out. I'll see if I can look it up in just a moment. Alex says, hey, and hey to you, Alex, coming in from Twitch. Greetings and salutations from Michaela. Frank says, are you standing or sitting? I am currently sitting. Today's a sitting day. My back hurts. My back's been bothering me for about a week. And I stood on, was it Wednesday? And I'm sitting. Why stand? Do I look, stand? Frank, do I look better when I'm standing or sitting? I don't know. So Alex says, I was involved in a hit and run in a parking lot. What do I need to do? I reported to Collision Center. Well, If you were involved in a hit and run, a collision center is certainly something you could do. Did you call police? Did you call and they directed you to a collision reporting center? Because at that point, that's probably all there is to do. You might be able to talk to your own insurance if you're a driver or if you are. I see. Was it your vehicle or you were personally hit? Like, was your car the victim of the hit and run, or were you struck and they drove away? Oh, your vehicle. Well, thank goodness, because I was concerned that you got hit and then someone drove away, leaving you on the ground, and then you were sent to a collision reporting center. So yeah, it's your own. You have your own insurance to deal with, but you could talk to the local security if you were in a mall parking lot. Maybe they have some footage, but there's not much to do after that until there's something else. Was there a lot of damage? It's as though we're having a conversation, this voice, but we're not. He's coming in from Twitch. Okay. I want to see. Oh, that's what I was looking up. Sorry, I scrolled for a moment there. I got to try and find out. I want to see about compressed seat height. And let us check. Motorcycle handlebar. Would it be under that? Motorcycle handlebar is too high. No person shall operate on a highway a motorcycle or motor-assisted bicycle equipped with handlebars, the uppermost portion of which is higher than the unclad shoulder of the operator, while the seat is fully depressed by the operator's weight. They've changed the wording. So based on this, is if your hands are over your shoulders, you're in violation. So I don't think I've ever read it that way. And maybe there are a number of things, but that is the OREG 596 section 10 sub 1. Things that are interesting and learning of things. Very cool. What do we got here? All right, let's go back to a list here. I'm 25 years old, not me, them. Does that mean I'm automatically insured for any car? Well, in Ontario, vehicles are insured, not drivers, and policies are written by insurance companies, and they have their conditions. So that depends on the policy of the vehicle in question. Some may say you have to be 25. Some people may say, or make policies may say, only name drivers. When it comes to a driver's license, you're covered as a driver. When it comes to insurance, that's up to the policy. So you have to find out. You can likely at 25 rent at any rental company. But that's not exactly what you're asking. Okay, is it illegal to remove the warning? We talked about that. Is it legal to use signal boosters in cars? I'm not aware of any legal issue with signal boosters. All it's doing is taking the little antenna from your phone that is being rebroadcast through a booster. I'm not aware of anything CRTC-wise that prevents you from doing it. I see them available like on Amazon, but I know not. That is not a traffic question. But I actually do not know the answer. I don't think there is an issue. And I don't know who you check. It would be like a CRTC. Would it be CRTC? I don't know. Maybe, possibly, could be. All right. I would assume it's not illegal, but it's always good to do homework. Wish I had more specific information. What do we got here? I got a question. Oh, okay, we got that. Not sure what the second part of that question is. Can you drive in the U.S. with a G2? Yes, you can. A G2 is a probationary license. What does that mean? It means that you have taken your G1 where you had to be supervised, you took your G2 test, and now for the remainder of your license term that you are, because you get 5 years when you get your G1, you are then able to drive alone without supervision as long as you follow the conditions, 0 BAC, and then you can. The only other conditions are really about, BAC is 0 blood alcohol content. And then additionally, there are restrictions between times for how many passengers under a certain age that you can have. Between 12 and 5 a.m. and the first 6 months and the second 6 months differ. You can do, in the first 6 months, I think you can have only 2, what is it? I'm going to look it up because I don't want to give you bad information. G2. So having more passengers and seatbelts, that's separate. So less than 6 months. You can have, between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m., there must not be more than one passenger in the motor vehicle who is under the age of 20, other than the person who is a member of the family, of the novice driver. And then in the second 6 months, you can have no more than, 3 passengers under the age of 20 who are not your family. Cool. But those are the only conditions. If you break any of those rules, even when in the States, you'd be in violation of your license. Okay. I live on a paved country road that's turned into a speedway. What can I do? So you're having a problem because people are breaking the law there. Call your local authorities. Call your local government. You're the municipality. The people that are representing your interests want to know. And if they don't want to know, they need to know because they need to do something about it, whether that means more police presence, speed bumps, studies, monitoring, whatever the case may be. There are options, but you got to call the people, and you have to be the squeaky wheel. Just asking for help once won't get it done. What is this? I don't know what MOL is. Ministry of Labor tickets? What is this? I'm not sure what. Can police give out MOL tickets such as fail to shore a trench or not wearing PPE? If there's an act, a provincial act, I'm sure we could. We generally, for workplace things, that's going to be Minister of Safety, workplace. No, who does that? It's going to be called. We're not going to investigate that, but we don't necessarily do the tickets for it. They have their own inspectors. But I'm having a mental moment where I can't think of who the organization is that we call. Yeah, I can't think of it. Okay. Yeah, I don't have all the answers all the time. But whenever we've had an industrial accident, we hold the scene. Somebody else comes in to investigate that. How long can you ride on a motorcycle permit? Is it 70 or 90 days for the M1? And then your M2 is good for a longer period. But this is boy, I'm getting all the questions that I can't think of at the top of my head. Let's see here. Drive M1 conditions. Things we can Google and find the answers. So how long? Because 22 months. After 22 months, you can get your road test to get a full M. 60. Okay, so you need to wait at least 60 days, and it's valid for 90 days. So I was in that range. I always remember 60 and 90, and then I forget which one's which. Other than I know one is called 60 and one is called 90. That's an actual number, but I can't remember which one is which. All right, what do we got here? What makes car seats expire, and how strictly are those to be adhered to? Helmets and car seats use foam to absorb impact. After 5 years, helmets are garbage. It doesn't matter if it's being dropped, if it's being used, if it's sitting on the shelf brand new. If it's a 5-year-old helmet, it is garbage. Why? Because the styrofoam, that impact in absorbing styrofoam becomes brittle. It actually ages. It becomes less... it becomes brittle. I don't know another word to describe it, and I don't want to say a certain word. But it will no longer absorb. It'll crack, and it'll respond to impact differently, making it less safe. So, same deal is for car seats, and whatever that number is, or that date range from date of manufacture, not date of purchase. So when you're buying things, make sure you're getting one that was made recently. Secondly, when it's expired, and that's for your benefit and your protection, not about enforcing rules. How are they adhered to? Like, how are we enforced? We look at them. We won't install or assist with the installation of an expired seat, and if we come across and do an inspection and it's an ancient seat, that's not safe. I have done inspections of seats. I used to be a certified installer. We don't do that anymore, and I'm expired. But I do inspections I did inspections whenever I pulled someone over on the road. And I cannot tell you how many I have seen that were just from the 1980s, absolute garbage, would not do anything good or would not be reasonably effective in a collision because designs and technology have changed and the foam is garbage. Invest in your child's safety. I bought the best I could buy that I could afford that was available. I didn't do the $2,000 racing seat that was available. That was an option. But I did buy the best I could afford, and I would suggest doing the same. Okay. Do officers get assigned to work in traffic unit after finishing at OPC? Yes, sometimes they do. I started in 12 Division. Others have since then started directly here. And there's an argument or a discussion constantly about whether that's a good thing. Should you go and get your experience as a divisional officer? And even if you were assigned here, you still go and do some stuff in the divisions for training. But there's a lot of benefit to doing the work and learning how to be a cop before you become a traffic cop. Those who come here have unique skills and abilities and are very good in certain areas, but lack certain skills or the same experiences. So many of the officers who start here do laterals and go 6 months, a year somewhere else and come back. But you can, to simply answer your question, yes, you can come here if there is space and we are looking. So if you're applying, and that brings me to employment, we are hiring. www.tps.ca/careers. Get information about becoming a member and apply. If you want to be a member of a police service, this is the best one. I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that. I think we're the best police service anywhere. But I'd probably say that if I worked somewhere else too. Just saying. All right. We got Crystal saying good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, Crystal. Can you drive with neon lights inside in your car on the floor? So if it's not distracting or negatively impacting your ability to drive safely, then I don't have an issue with it. Neon that is, really bright, that's going to cause your night vision to go or cause issues with your ability to see and safely operate your vehicle, obviously a problem. But my vehicle came with lights that I can even change the colors with RGB in my in dash, and it's perfectly legitimate and legal. Can you have race slicks on the back of a car if front tires are normal? No. You can. Race slicks are not street legal. You got to have street legal tires. Racing slicks, something with no tread, not legal. You have to have road tires. Road tires, legal. And even then, they have to be of a condition that is safe. Okay, passing a car on a double yellow. Not a good idea. Not illegal. The lines don't. You can't get a ticket for crossing the line. You can, however, be charged for what you do after you've crossed it. In other words, if you cause a collision, if you're speeding, all those things you're still responsible for. You are not allowed to exceed the speed limit. And I don't know if anyone was aware of that. Speeding limits are limits, not minimums. But if you're crossing the double line and speeding and create a collision, you've got all these potential problems. But the lines themselves are not enforceable in Ontario. Other jurisdictions have different rules. You need to know what the rules are in the jurisdiction that you're driving. And much of what we speak about is Ontario-based. We talk about criminal. It's obviously Canada-wide. But wherever you are, things could be different. So if you're asking a question and it's, I'll try and be very specific about my answer. Let's see here. Are you allowed to drive other people's vehicles if you are licensed but not insured on their policy? We talked about that a little bit this morning when we started at 10. The answer is vehicles are insured. Drivers specifically are not. However, if you live with someone, an insurance policy might determine that you must be, or an insurance company may request or demand that you are on the policy. You can lend out a vehicle as long as they're not breaking any of the rules. I say that because some insurance companies add stipulations like you're not allowed to lend it to someone under 25, or no one under 25 can drive, or Bob is not allowed to drive. They may specifically say that person cannot drive, depending if they know that Bob is someone you know. Anyway, long story short, you're legally allowed to operate any motor vehicle that you are licensed for as long as the vehicle is insured. From a policing perspective, we would not interfere with someone driving a vehicle. But if you were in a collision and you were violating something on the policy, they could turn around and deny your claim. They can do what they want. They're a private company. All right. Yes, we talked about that. Okay. Are cross, stop, and pivot left turns legal as a cyclist because of the what? Because a crosswalk. Because the cross a crosswalk. I don't know what the question is. I need more information because I'm not picking up what you're putting down. How long is a warning ticket on the record system? Warnings are not tickets. They do not go to the Ministry of Transportation. They are police records only, and they stay forever. We log everything. I mean, we have to hold on to most things for 25 years or more. And with technology, they just stay. Stephen Bell, hi, good morning to you too. All right. If an officer is dealing with someone and they see another crime happening nearby, what happens? Depends. Everything depends. This is a very gray world. It's not black and white. We are not instructed you must stop and you must start. If I can finish what I'm doing and leave, I will. You might be your lucky day if I'm stopping you for something that is relatively minor, but someone's calling for help or assistance and it's a high priority call. You'll probably get the wave and a congratulations and don't do it again and bye. It all depends. Crime will trump traffic for me. Let's see here. Sean, are there any limits for G2 drivers? Because I've been told by my friends that there aren't. Well, we talked about this like 10 minutes ago. The limits are no alcohol in your blood and no drugs, obviously. And additionally, you have restrictions between 12 and 5 a.m. in terms of who can be in your vehicle. For 6 months, it's one passenger under 20 years old. There's no restrictions if they're family members. And 6 months or more with a G2, it is going to be nobody under, no more than 3 people under. Second 6 months, yes. No more than 3 people under 20. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Aaron. We got the wave. Are you joining us today or just waving?
I'm just waving for now.
Okay. Listen, if you happen to pull up a chair, we'll welcome you with open arms or microphones anyway. Not ready to join us. Aaron is TPS_Bikehart. If you are looking for parking questions, City of Toronto specific, by all means, shoot questions to her. Follow her account, that sort of thing. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I go onto social media to answer your traffic and police questions. We do it for an hour or more a day, and this has become a thing that came out of the pandemic. The positive solution-focused people that we are. We wanted to find ways to communicate with the public and answer questions and be available to you, and this is what we did. TikTok and everywhere else. We are currently broadcasting on LinkedIn Live. We're on TikTok, of course. We're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. Did I say? Oh, yeah, Instagram Live, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. If you've got questions, we do have answers most of the time. Use the Q&A function, use the comments, use wherever you got available to you to ask questions. If you're on Twitter, you can't actually ask us questions, but you do have the option of going to trafficcop.ca. That'll take you to our Volley app. Volley app space is awesome. Oh, somebody is spamming about insurance. I don't know if I can get that person and find them. Find them and block them. Uno momento, por favor. Let's see. Can I find them? I don't see them. But CJ, if you see this person, they are doing no good. But I don't see them. Maybe it has to refresh for me. Okay. Can you have anything other than glass as a window? It must be a windshield or glass that is safe for vehicles, because if you put plexi in there, in a crash, it's not going to act properly. It could be very dangerous. It has to be breakaway. It has to be stuff that works as designed and is safe for the road. What else? Why would you want to change anything? Leo wife, my wife. Happy FriYay to both you and the kids. And looking forward to after work when I get to come home and hug everybody. That is the best part of FriYay, and every day, actually. That's my story. Oh, what is this? I got stopped for unattached license plate when I just renewed my license plate a couple months back. I don't know why that is. Maybe it didn't update the system. Interesting. Unattached would be that it's not actually listed as attached to your vehicle. That's different than expired, so there may be something much more serious at work. What is this? Okay. Oh, Usman wants to know about rickshaws being road legal. I believe they are. I see them on the road. I know there are people working on them. They're bicycles, they're tricycles. I believe that they are. I don't know about business license requirements and operating as a rickshaw. Not my department. I don't know. But I've been asked this question before, and my understanding is they're legal to be on the road. I don't know about their licensing requirements with the city. Second question of the day for signal boosters in cars. Interesting. I don't know if you're the same person who asked earlier or not, but as far as I know, they're legal. It's different. Signal blockers, that's a problem. Those are absolutely illegal. Okay. Is there any tint allowed for the windshield, even like a light sun guard or thing? If your vehicle is manufactured or was manufactured before 2017, so a 2016 vehicle or older, you can have a 3-inch tint strip across the top that is no more than 30% light blockage. Again, just a tint strip, a brow thing across the top. 3 inches, 75 millimeters, that's it, that's all. Anything manufactured afterwards, you cannot have anything on the front windshield, no tint at all. If you had tint on the windshield and you were pulled over, you would be losing your license plates because it's unsafe. Your vehicle is not safe for the road with tint on your windshield. And that includes, so people tend to just peel it right off at the side of the road to avoid being towed, Okay. Is it true that speed limits are suggestions? Absolutely not. Speed limits are limits. That's why they're laws and we issue tickets when you choose not to follow them. Speed limits and speeding, more specifically, kills. When you break the rules, you put yourselves in higher jeopardy of collision, the severity of the injuries, and the potential of death. So when people say their suggestions, they're full of it. If someone got a ticket for an expired accessible pass or permit, but has a current one, can they fight it? You can fight anything you want. Whether you win is different. If you had displayed an expired one, but you had the new one, you might find yourself with an excuse. Things happen. You can certainly talk to a prosecutor. That's not my department. They choose whether or not they want to prosecute you after we lay the charge. But certainly worth a conversation. Especially if you weren't intentionally, you just put the wrong one out, things happen. What is the legal tint limit in Ontario? Tint can be no more than 30% light blockage. 70% of the light has to get through. It can be applied to the windows left and right of the driver, and the windows behind the driver can be as dark as you want. That is for safety. Now, nothing on the windshield at all, and nothing can be reflective. That is for safety. Actually, the reflective is going to be mostly part of the other charge, which I'll tell you about in just a second. I think I just did a video about tint. In any case, the windows rear of the driver compartment, so rear passenger, rear cargo, rear window itself, you can paint them solid. It doesn't matter. You must only have windows that are transparent in the driver compartment, right? The reason being is we have to be able to see in as well. So 30% light blockage, no more, or you'll lose your license plates because you're an unsafe vehicle. If it's dark out and we can't see in, that's a problem. It wouldn't be for the safety spectrum. It would be for the charge of color coating obscure interior. So you cannot put color or reflective coatings on windows, preventing police and public from seeing inside. You're not allowed to pick your nose in privacy in a car. Sorry, we have to be able to see if you're wearing your seatbelt, if you're using your cell phone, if you're drinking alcohol, to describe the driver in event of a collision or a criminal event. We need to be able to see you, and if we can't see you and describe you in full living color, well, we pull you over and charge you. It's a $110 ticket, and you got to have it. You got to have a window that we can see through. So let's say it's 30% light blockage and you're driving in a sunny day and we can see you, and it gets dark outside and we can't see you. Guess what? You're breaking the law, and the charge of obscure interior would apply based on atmospheric conditions. Let's see here. How long do you have to pay tickets if you're past the 15-day mark? Depending on the ticket, they might be charging you interest. I think parking enforcement tickets do accrue interest over time. If you are past the 15 days and you've done nothing, you are going to be deemed to have pled guilty and simply not paid, at which point you may have a suspension on your license after a certain period of time because you are considered guilty, and no response is guilty. Then you might go into collections. You would have to potentially, if you want to defend yourself, you'd have to get it reopened. It's a big process. So you want to get that dealt with within the 15 days because action takes place without you taking action. Yeah, things happen. Okay, what do we got here? If someone got a ticket, we talked about that one. No, we talked about that one. I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this, but what kind of exhaust mods are legal? Okay, I can't give you the details other than 74 decibels for an automobile at idle, 92 decibels for a motorcycle. It must have an exhaust, a muffler and a resonator, and that we're talking about cat back. It can be free-flowing. It can't be so noisy that it creates unnecessary noise because you could be getting a ticket for that. You can have a free-flowing system or a free air-flowing system, but it still must meet the requirements under the law in Ontario. If it doesn't, expect a ticket. Straight pipes, obviously, doesn't have resonator muffler, illegal. You can't have a modification to have a dump to be able to bypass and avoid the muffler system. And if you're talking about catalytic converters, now you're talking about something entirely different. You're talking about, whatchamacallit, Environmental Protection Act, and that's much more serious. And we're seeing problems where people are having their catalytic converters stolen and or people are removing them on purpose, which in modern vehicles is not a good idea. I know a lot of people are polarized about this, but it's not a good idea. Now, if it's stolen, put in a police report, and at least there's some paperwork, but you need to get it replaced. If you're taking it out, the better option is high flow catalytic converters versus no catalytic converters. So those modders, those performance improvement peeps, yeah, get a high flow one, but make sure it's legal. How often do you go to the shooting range? As police officers, as rule, or as me as someone who used to shoot competitively. So I used to shoot every weekend. I used to. I don't have time now. I'm a dad. I do dad stuff. I go to Wonderland more than I go to the gun range. But in terms of police officers, we many of us do training on a regular basis, and we can drop in whenever we want. But there is mandatory annual requalification for use of force, at which point we have to do a course of fire, which would then recertify us for yet another year of use. Do you have a quota of issuing tickets? No, there's no quota. I love the question though. It always impresses me that people assume that we get a free toaster if we hit a certain threshold of tickets issued. Truth is, and to borrow the words of Frank Poncherello, which maybe you know, or whom you recognize the name of, you should, because it's the best television show in the world ever of all time. That's why I'm a police officer. But Frank Poncherello said, I asked my sergeant, I can write as many tickets as I want. And that's the truth. I'd go out and my goal was to find as many people who are violating the law and hold them accountable as possible. That was my thing. That was my shtick. The Defiant one says, I work at General Motors and I've seen so many collisions, people trying to speed out. Don't rush, it's not worth it. Absolutely, and I couldn't say it better myself. The fact is that people are doing things and making poor decisions on the road, and they're putting their own lives and the lives of everybody else on the road at risk every single time they do it. It's not worth it. Laws on having a nitrous bottle hooked up to a car while road driving. What if the valve is off? You cannot have, if the bottle is connected, if the canister is connected and full, you cannot, that's illegal. So it could be an empty can for show, or you can have a can not connected, but the system installed. But you can't have them all together. Cannot be capable of deploying. Okay. I'll come to that one that made me laugh in a second. So, what happens if I lose my plate on vacation in a different province? Make a police report. That police report will substantiate your claim, at least get you home with the one plate. And then when you get home, you need to go and get a new plate. But that's it. You make a police report, and then you get it replaced as soon as you can. That doesn't mean 6 months. That doesn't mean 3 months. It doesn't mean take your time. It means it's an urgent thing that as soon as practicable, you resolve the issue. What is this? Do you ticket people that drive with their high beams on all the time? And yes, yes, I do, because it's improper headlights. You can't do it. Now, daytime it's not really an issue, but at nighttime it is, and it is specifically regulated. You must follow the rules. You cannot blind other drivers. It's silly. Now, it's something that many people don't realize is for most cars that don't have LED lighting, your high beams and your daytime running lights are on the same bulb. It's just low power, which means that those are directed up in the air. So people who forget to turn on their entire headlight system, they are effectively using their high beams and can be charged accordingly. Well, they're improper anyway because they're not the proper headlights projecting the appropriate brightness. Do we need a sticker if we travel to an area like Quebec? A sticker like what? Like scratch and sniff? Oh, I'm really dating myself. Do they still have scratch and sniff stickers? Anyway, no, you don't. As an Ontario driver, we don't issue tickets. So we don't issue stickers anymore. Thus, when you're traveling, you don't need stickers because we don't issue them anymore. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Do you find officers generally ignore bad driving from red plate drivers because diplomats? I don't know. That's something I don't see enough diplomatic plates to know whether or not. Never done a survey. I'll pull over anyone who's a bad driver. I'll pull over anyone who's breaking the law. I don't care what color their plate is. And I would, at that point, even there's some things that diplomatic plates denote, but at the end of the day, it needs to be documented and it needs to be reported back to their embassy. Whether or not they get in trouble is up to them, but it still needs to be reported. Can you pass an ambulance going below the speed limit with its lights on? No. If its lights are on, don't be near it. Stay to the right. Now, chances are it's just forgotten to turn them off. Because there's no reason to turn the lights on if they're not actively going to something. But I've seen videos sent to me of slow-moving ambulances with lights on. If their lights and sirens are not active, it's still not an invitation. Sorry, if their siren is not active and they're going slowly, it's not an invitation to pass them. Stay out of their way. But if you went up beside them and asked or called the ambulance service and said, hey, do you know that bus 12345 is currently riding with its lights on doing 80 and at 100? Maybe they're having something happen. Who knows? Maybe they're, anyway, I don't know. I'm speculating. All right. Can your department have facial hair? No. There's no facial hair permitted, allowed in any way, shape, or form. No mustaches, no goatees, no beards. In fact, you can't even have hair. Yes, you can have facial hair. We were the last in, I think, the country to allow goatees. It was full beard or proper mustache up until not that long ago. And then we were allowed to have goatees as an option. And that was a wonderful day. About, was it 12 or 15 years ago? Yeah, I really did appreciate that because I like wearing a goatee sometimes. Anyway, are you allowed to show tattoos? As long as they're not offensive tattoos, then you're good to go. You can't have offensive stuff showing. And yeah, you shouldn't have offensive stuff anyway. But I know that in Germany, you're not allowed as a police officer to have visible tattoos or sleeves, because a friend of mine came here from Germany because of that rule. He wanted to be a police officer, but couldn't be one there. Okay. Are there any laws regarding the use of honking besides being overly obnoxious? Unnecessary noise. So whether it's your stereo, your exhaust pipe, your horn, if it's not for a lawful purpose, if it's not necessary for communication, and stereo and squealing tires and exhaust are not for communication, then it would be prohibited. You'd be charged for unnecessary noise. Stereo, exhaust, and squealing tires are without question. Honking could be for a lawful purpose. Get out of my way, watch out, pedestrian there. Oh no, all these reasons are valid. But if you're just honking because you're honking, that's against the law. What can you do when 3 trucks are overtaking each other on the 401? Stay out of their way if they're big trucks. You don't want to play in their silly truck games. Create some space. Stay away from them. I don't know what else to tell you because I don't know exactly what maneuver you're describing, but when trucks are moving, know that they are big and they need a lot of space to stop and maneuver, and they have blind zones or blind spots that are zones because they're huge. So give them space. Have you ever arrested someone for impersonating a police officer? I have not. Is it illegal to have colored headlights or fog lights, green, red, yellow, etc.? So the only colors that you can have that are projector bulbs, that is 300 lumens or more, to the front of the vehicle are going to be boom, 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 red. Sorry, not. I read something else from another line. Are yellow and white. Those are the only 2 headlight colors. So you cannot have blue fog lights. Prohibited. You can have lights that are not active and never turned on. That wouldn't be an issue. But if you activate them, if they're shining light, they're illegal. So off-road lights can be whatever color you want. Cannot be used on the road. I have 7 train horns hooked up for my alarm system. That sounds loud. I have air horns on my motorcycle. It's loud, and you want to be loud because even a police siren is with the Doppler effect, which is one of the reasons I say people who say loud pipes save lives really don't know what they're talking about, because they don't. Because police sirens on a highway at highway speed, you can't hear it even like a car length behind them, or the people in front of you can't hear unless you're within a car length. And in any case, train horns for your alarm system, it's to get attention. You'd be getting it. If it was going off all the time while you were driving, that would be against the law. Unnecessary noise. Can cyclists put on their headphones while riding? Yes, and so can drivers. It's not against the law. Hearing is not a requirement for driving. There is no hearing test when you get your driver's license, although some jurisdictions outside of Ontario do require you to have no more than one ear covered. I don't know why, but apparently it's a thing. Is it illegal to test drive a vehicle at the dealership without a license plate? So, good question from Usman. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, because I've said it this way like 5 times now, and I don't know if I'm actually saying it correctly. In any case, it must have a plate to be on the road. So if you are test driving a vehicle with no plate visible and you're pulled over, you're going to get a ticket. And it's you who gets the ticket. So make sure it's there. Could I match my rear window tint to my front windows from the factory? It depends if your rear window tints are legal. Now, legal for the front windows. The rear window tint can be as dark as you want. You don't have to actually be able to see in or out of the rear windows. You do, however, have to maintain no more than 30% light blockage of the windows left and right of the driver. And of course, the windshield can't be heavily tinted. Actually, it can't have any tint, what am I saying? And you have to know that you cannot prevent anyone from seeing inside. So chances are, if you're going privacy tint, which is what's on the back of most vehicles, that would be illegal because we couldn't see you. You must be visible as a driver. We have to see if you're using your cell phone, if you're drinking alcohol, if you're wearing your seatbelt. There's a number of reasons we need to see you, and the public too. It's not just about the police seeing it. It's anyone. Sorry to say, people will see you when you pick your nose. Okay. Talk about school buses. School buses are important. School's starting soon. Actually, we have a media event on September 7th because our traffic safety campaign, Back to School, is kicking into full force on that day, which reminds me I have to send somebody an email. CP24, I'll email you after the show. The deal is that we need to remind folks that there's some changes. They're minor, and that's probably why you haven't seen a lot of it in the media. There's now a 2-stage color change when it comes to school bus lighting. It used to be that you'd see a school bus with flashing red lights. It would still be moving, and people were confused. What does that mean? Well, back in the day, which was just earlier this year, you were allowed to pass a vehicle, a school bus, that had flashing red lights that had not yet come to a stop. However, once it came to a stop, even if the stop sign hadn't come out, you were obligated to stop in both directions for that school bus. Now what you'll see is 2 stages. Stage 1 will be flashing amber lights while the vehicle's in motion, preparing to stop. And then once it stops, it should change to flashing red, and the stop sign should come out, at which point you cannot pass in either direction. Now, if it's a divided highway, you cannot pass it, but vehicles traveling the other direction, so if you're traveling southbound, northbound vehicles on a divided highway, which means there's a barrier, whether it be concrete or grass or what the story is, the same thing goes for emergency vehicles. Now, when you're talking about an undivided highway with simply a painted line in between you, then everyone has to stop for that school bus. That's it. That's all. Okay. What else can I tell you about school buses? 25% of collisions occur within 100 meters of schools, and usually in the 3 o'clock onward, and I'm sure drop-off time as well. What I'm getting at is we want to protect our vulnerable youth, all those people that are going to and from the education stations. Yeah, schools, we want to protect those people. We want to protect everybody, but we really want to protect our youth. So please, drive safely, drive legally. Take time. Give yourself extra time, especially in the time as school starts, because there's always an influx of people who are going new routes, new destinations, more vehicles on the road at a certain time, causing congestion. People get frustrated, so give yourself lots of extra time because we want to protect life. I know people say, well, you just want to write tickets. No, we'd happily not write tickets. The chief was on the show on Wednesday talking about the fact that we'd rather not write tickets. We want to keep people safe. But if you choose to break the law and you choose to make the roads unsafe, we will happily write you that ticket. It's not even, I like to say we're just doing the paperwork, but you are writing the ticket. You are effectively creating the reason, you are creating the reason for us to write that ticket. We're just doing the paperwork. You just, yeah. All right. Are sun strips legal? Okay. Sun strips are permitted on vehicles manufactured before 2017. That's it. Nothing on the new vehicles. Tintotozi coming in from Montreal. Hello, my friend. Facebook. I haven't seen you in a while. Is this a new school bus change only for Toronto? This is Ontario-wide. This is a new Ontario rule. Other provinces have been doing this for a long time, but it's new for us. Can I drive with a fractured ankle under treatment? Is there a law about it? If your doctor says you can't, if they give you a medical suspension, then you'd be prohibited from it. If you can safely operate a motor vehicle and you've not been told you cannot, then there's no broken ankle law that I'm aware of. There's no broken ankle law. But you have to be able to safely maneuver your vehicle. And if you're in a collision and it's deemed that you had a cast on and you were trying to drive with a cast, which is not safe, I'd be expecting you to get charged for something, probably careless driving. Is it illegal to take a pic of someone's license plate without knowing it? No, it's in public view. There's nothing illegal about it. Yeah, I mean, I have a dash cam. I'm recording everyone's license plate without them knowing it all the time. And so is everybody else with a dash cam. And so is every private security camera that people drive past. And it's in public view. I can't. I can't. Well, I was going to say I can't, but there's nothing I can't do. If you're in public view, I can take a picture. Even of you, Let's see here. How is changing the radio station not distracted driving while using a handheld device is? Well, it is not a handheld device. You cannot change the music on your phone. That's against the law. Even if you mount your phone, you can't touch it for the purposes of changing your songs or whatnot. it is against the law. But distracted driving is very specifically when using a handheld communication device, a handheld entertainment device, or a screen visible to the driver. That's the handheld communication. That is the distracted driving laws for Ontario. Other provinces may have more strict laws. For instance, I think even drinking water in British Columbia is against the law. Don't get me started. Okay. What is this? What is the charge of driving with a G1 alone? I love this. I love this question because I get to talk about how ridiculous G1 drivers are who choose to break the law. And here are the offenses. This is what the offense is. It's G1 driver, drive unaccompanied. And it comes with some great stuff. And I mean great for us as society who needs to protect ourselves from G1 drivers who are driving alone. You're not licensed as a G1 driver. You are given a permit to be supervised by a licensed driver with 4 years of experience. And when you choose to drive alone, not only are you breaking the simple law of not being supervised, you're not licensed. You should not be anywhere near that vehicle. You would be charged for the G1 drive unaccompanied. That comes with a $110 fine. Additionally, there's a 30-day suspension for the first conviction, 90 days for the second conviction, and on your third conviction, you would be kicked out of the graduated licensing program, and rightfully so. But something else you need to know about. When you are pulled over and found to be operating that motor vehicle in violation, the person who let you use their vehicle is subject to charge under the Highway Traffic Act for allowing you to do it. And let's say they, when questioned, say, I never gave them permission. They took it without consent. They stole the vehicle, but differently than break and enter, break and take. Then you would be charged criminally for take vehicle without consent. And let's go further. What happens if you're in a motor vehicle collision? Well, you're not insured, because insurance companies insure licensed drivers. So you smash mom and dad's car, friend's car, whomever's car it is, their comprehensive coverage won't apply because you don't have insurance. The liability, I would likely be covered still, but yeah, that's it. We're talking about G1 drivers who drive unlicensed and unaccompanied. I say G1 unlicensed, I mean unaccompanied. Hi, Sarge.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm doing well. You're in for the last 10 minutes.
I got a few minutes that I'm walking by, and I always try my best to get on. Sometimes it doesn't work, but today I don't have the 10 minutes, but I'm here anyways.
Well, we appreciate you dropping in. We've been talking about all sorts of stuff. For those who are who are listening and say, who is this other voice? It is Sergeant Murray Campbell. He is a media relations officer and also sergeant of many talents in the office with many different areas of expertise and responsibility. But we again, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Here is a question. The question is for you to elaborate on maximum amounts on impounds for cars on stunt driving. What is is there a maximum amount?
Well, the earlier on last year, the amount of time changed from 7 days to 14 days under 55.1. So 14 days stunt driving, lose your car.
But what happens? So they're asking about maximums. So the term is set that they cannot release the vehicle to you for 14 days, even if you want it. But let's say you take 30 days to go collect your car. The impound fees would continue to accrue until you got yourself together to go pick it up.
Absolutely. You're not allowed to go pick up your vehicle until the completion of an entire 14-day cycle from the time that you were served the notice of it, the time of impoundment. So you have 14 days, and if you don't go pick it up after that, the storage fees still continue. Unfortunately, for people that don't have the money for it, they sometimes say, well, I'll go pick it up later. Well, those fees can sometimes increase to quite significant amounts.
It'd be worth more than the car.
Sometimes it is. For those choosing, unfortunately, to do criminal type offenses and be prohibited from driving, a 45, a 90, or 180-day impound can quite seriously cost more than the cost of the vehicle.
And with this, is it the Towing and Liens Act? What's the act called?
So it's the Repairs and Storage Liens
yes.
Act. It's an old piece of legislation that came out in 1990. Some of it we're trying to get updated. We're trying to get the province to update it to more current trends and laws and where it doesn't actually fit in with the Highway Traffic Act. It's unfortunate when you sell a vehicle and the person you sell it to doesn't do their obligatory requirement to change the vehicle ownership over within 6 days, the old owner is still responsible under the Repairs and Storage Liens Act for all the liens that may be against that vehicle that may come from that person who bought it having it towed.
Well, here's a question. How long till the tow company can sell your car to recover costs if you don't pick up the vehicle?
You know what? 60 days.
Wow.
Yep. After 60 days, 60 days of total elapsed time. If there's a period of an impoundment in there, where it's a 45, 90, or 180-day impoundment, it would start after that period.
So once the suspension or the impound is done.
That's correct.
Cool. Are you allowed to move someone using your car if they are blocking you from leaving a place? That sounds very, a very bad idea.
Are you going to use force? Or
That sounds like force.
Or are you going to move their car like with a forklift, or what? What is it?
Well, unfortunately, the question is not specific enough. So you cannot make contact with a human to move them because they're standing in front of you. That is going to be assault with a vehicle.
Yeah, especially if you use your vehicle, yeah.
Yeah. If you are in a situation like that, calling the police would be a good idea. If someone was like standing in front of you and refusing to move, don't escalate things. Call the police. This is what we're here for.
And it could be an offense on that person for doing that, forcible confinement or something, depending on the situation, and that person could be facing charges.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of different options.
I have seen a video of he's a farmer. I believe it's in England, actually, where people parked in the end of his driveway leading into his fields. Because of the location, it happens an awful lot. Apparently, there's a sight to see very close by, and people block that. And there is a video out there of him using a telehandler, which is a articulating sort of kind of forklift kind of thing, picking up the car and rolling it down the road.
I think that's awesome. I'm not sure what the law would say there about it, but interesting. He did resolve the issue, so he could do what he had to do.
Yeah, but I think there were some consequences.
I imagine there would be.
I don't know how reasonable that would be.
No, again, calling police. If nothing else, get direction. If you call the police and say, I have a forklift, can I move the truck? At least you're getting direction. I would opt not to, because you're going to be responsible for everything that happens. Tow truck operators are responsible when they touch your vehicle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're taking all that liability on yourself. So to answer that question, don't drive over anybody, call the police. And let's see here. How close do I have to be to get a speed camera ticket? It's generally how fast you have to go. If you mean how close from it's whatever range it can catch you. And I know that's not what you're looking for as an answer, but I don't know a specific number. Most speed cameras, you pass them. So as you pass them, you are traveling away from it. And if you accelerate, it will likely take a picture of you.
Yeah, most of them. I think it depends on the municipality, and I think they can set it up for approaching or leaving, kind of like our radar guns would be. You know what? Each municipality has a different camera system, and they're allowed to set up within the parameters of the camera system. So each one could be different. I know there's a couple of different authorized manufacturers of systems that different municipalities use. So the best way to try it out is not do it at all.
I like that. Chase sent a photo of I've never actually seen the sign in my life. It is an ATV within a green circle on a square or sign, and it appears to be regulated. His question was, how far after this sign does it become illegal to ride an ATV? Is it for the whole road because there's a sign, or is this, because there's no ATV signs? Are you familiar with this sign?
So let me come over and have a quick look.
Yes. So most signs are 150 meters. So if there would likely be another sign every 150 meters to note that they're permitted. But this is not my department. I do not know anything about ATVs.
So about a year ago, the government changed the Off-Road Vehicles Act. Previous to that, municipalities had to opt in to allowing ATVs access to the very right-hand side of the roadway and to travel on the roadway. There are restrictions on it. Roads with a speed limit of 50 kilometers an hour, actually less than 60 kilometers an hour, you're allowed a maximum of 20 kilometers an hour of traveling.
That's the sign, by the way, for everyone who's asking or curious what it looks like if you're not on Volley. But you should be on Volley. Trafficcop.ca to go see it yourself and comment.
80 kilometer an hour roads, far right as possible, and the maximum speed you can travel on your ATV is 50 kilometers an hour. That sign shows that it is an authorized road. The municipality has opted in to authorizing the use of ATVs on there. I would imagine that it is only good for a period of time, but if they're putting a green sign up there, there would be an end to that zone as well at some point, where you would find a no ATVs. It would be a square sign, white background, big red circle with a line through it.
The no smoking sign. I don't know why it's always no smoking association, but whatever.
Yeah, so now the government has changed it. So municipalities now have to opt out of allowing ATVs on their roads.
Oh, really?
The city of Toronto, zero. None of them. They've completely opted out. Most GTA roads, urban areas, have opted out their entire municipality. Municipalities that accept ATVs, and it's a big part of tourism. It's a big part of doing stuff in our northern communities. I do it all the time. They see the benefit to it, and they want to encourage you to be able to get into town or travel from place to place. It is for the use of your ATV. It's not to, go pick up all the groceries. It's not to take your kids to school. It is for the enjoyment and use of your ATV.
And that's also like skidoos or some communities allow them as well, right?
So snowmobiles are not allowed on the road.
Ever? Because in certain communities, I thought they went up the shoulder. They did things.
It could be the shoulder of the road, but not on the roadway itself. So not on the gravel portion. Sometimes on closed roads they can, or where there's an OFSC, which is an Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs trail, that permits it.
I have never been on a snowmobile.
I'm going to take you one of those times.
It's cold when those.
There's nothing like traveling 100 plus miles an hour across a frozen lake.
I'll take your word.
Safely.
Safely at 150 miles an hour. Are you allowed to operate an e-bike /regular bicycle after drinking or consuming alcohol or drugs? E-bike, no, you are clearly not permitted to operate an e-bike because under the Criminal Code of Canada, anything other than muscular power is covered under the under the Criminal Code for impaired operation. And recently, case law has upheld that for conveyances like canoes, which are not motor vehicles, and yet still convictions were registered in relation to being impaired.
Either way, you're not allowed to be impaired in public either. You can't be intoxicated in public under the Liquor License Act. So even if you're drunk and you're pushing your bicycle, that could be an offense as well.
It all depends on what the observations are.
Yep, the circumstances.
Because drunk isn't having alcohol in your system, and impairment may look differently to everybody else. But most people, when it's public intoxication falling, that's usually fall down drunk to be the clue.
Right. So different levels depending on the different acts that it applies to. Yeah. But an e-bike, 100%. It's a motor vehicle. It has a couple of exemptions, so you don't need a license or insurance and stuff with it. But it's a motor vehicle under the criminal code.
Absolutely. And there's also, we can get into a whole deep in the weeds conversation about e-bikes and when they're legal, when they're not, under what circumstances, what the regulations are. But why go there when we can talk about that on Monday? But we can talk about why do pickup trucks in Ontario have black license plates when the rest of the cars have blue plates? And that one's when I got rid of I had a pickup truck for a number of years, and I got black plates. I'm like, I really liked my blue plates. Why can't I have that blue? So if you have a custom license plate, you can actually keep. Like if it's a vanity plate, you can actually have blue plates on a pickup, but it's because they're trucks, and they're classified as trucks as opposed to SUVs or passenger vehicles.
Yeah, trucks used to be for commercial use only. Back in the day when trucks were originally designed, including myself, I drive a truck, and it is for personal use. It has that designation as a commercial personal use, but it has a truck plate. Truck plates were differentiated because they were supposed to be on trucks for commercial use.
And interestingly, truck plates, although I see people putting, now I don't see it at all, I guess, stickers, Val tags used to go on the front plate, and now they don't go on any plate. But
that's not true.
Heavier vehicles, over 3,000 kilos.
Anything over 3,000 kilos, you still need a Val tag, and you still have to apply for it every year and still pay for it every year. And that sticker would go on the front. And the reason it would go on the front,
you were likely towing a trailer.
Well, yes, because in big transport trucks, you wouldn't be able to see the back plate if they're towing the big trailer behind it. So
You may not even have a rear bumper, depending on how the vehicle is outfitted.
that's correct.
Yeah, all sorts of good reasons. What do we got here? E-bikes get hit all the time and ride like they own the road. Is this going to be looked at more now? I think they should have an M license because there's so many. Well, I'm quoting them, so I can say "stupid people on e-bikes." That's Jeremy's words, not mine. And the answer is, I don't know how things will go. It remains to be seen because there are, as we see more and more issues as they arise, you never know. The government may decide that. That's not where we are now. Right now, if your vehicle, your e-bike, is not capable of exceeding 32 kilometers an hour, is not more than 120 kilos in weight, and does not have a motor more powerful than a 500 watt motor, then it's covered and treated as a bicycle. The moment it's modified, upgraded, the governors are taken off, and it can do 33 kilometers an hour, has a 501 watt motor, and is heavier than 120 kilos, it is now a motorcycle and needs a motorcycle license, it needs insurance and a license plate. And that's where things are there is an issue. It's because people are modifying these bikes to break the law, to make them act as though they were motor vehicles, because, well, guess what? They become motor vehicles again. They are motor vehicles. They're just covered under legislation to give you the benefit if they conform to those rules.
You know what, Sean? There is a place for e-bikes. I truly believe that there is. And as long as everybody obeys the rules of it, then everybody will be able to interact correctly and safely. It's those people that actually don't obey the rules that are put in place, and the rules are put in place to keep everybody safe. So.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of questions. We're at that time. We'll go a couple more minutes, and then we'll have to say goodbye for another day. Why don't Montreal drivers get parking tickets? Or sorry, what is the wording here? I scrolled too far down. Oh, and I was trying to figure out how many here. Oh my goodness! Holy smokes! There's a whole bunch of questions. Like a lot of questions. I've lost where I was. They were basically suggesting, because I can't find it, that they aren't responsible for red light cameras and so on, and they are. We still ticket Montreal drivers.
Oh, absolutely.
They do come after you.
There was signs up on the 407 that out-of-province plates originally were not being built, but now they do.
We need to go after anyone who violates. No one gets a free pass.
I agree.
Let's say your license is suspended, and can you still drive while you're waiting for your court date? If your license is suspended, it is suspended. If you go and get your license reinstated after that suspension is over and you're waiting for your court date, then you can drive after you've reinstated it. But that is, while you are suspended, do not drive. I cannot say it any other way. Can you say it any other way?
Do not drive.
Yeah, you're looking at it's a serious offense, and again, you're not licensed, you're not insured. There's a number of issues there.
And we're going to take your car anyways.
Again, yes, and it gets even more. And you get additional. Is there a suspension for driving while under suspension? Do you extend it? Is there any additional consequence?
Yes, upon conviction.
Upon conviction,
you get an additional suspension.
And if you keep doing it, depending on what if it was a suspension that was criminal or court imposed, you're actually disqualified. Now it's a criminal offense. Depends. So there's more to it. There's stuff and things. What are the laws surrounding dash cam footage? Can police take it, or do they need to request it? So if it's evidence, can we seize it? You can seize to protect the evidence, yeah. Could we write an order for it? Sure. It all depends. But the idea is if it's evidence, most people give it to us happily because it's to protect them. Some people who may not want to incriminate themselves, based on the fact that those record over themselves, to protect the evidence, to ensure that it doesn't get destroyed, we can seize it.
Yeah, you know what? I would liken it to if a homicide occurred out front of your house and you had video of it. You know what? That is evidence of a crime that happened, and most likely, most people would be more than willing to give up that video. But if we needed it, we could request that a judge with judicial authorization order that video be given to us.
This one's a high flyer, big question. What is the number one cause of all traffic collisions? I don't know if we can say that there's one number one, but recently, in speaking with the chief and looking at some statistics that he brought, out of the 39 fatalities we've had on our road, the overwhelming majority was a combination of speed and carelessness, aggressive carelessness, distracted. Like there was a couple of categories. So between speed and distraction seems to be the primary.
Sean, I'm just going to generalize this. You know what? If you were taking proper care, no collision should happen.
Yeah.
If everybody was taking proper care. So careless, yeah, that's how collisions occur. When you back into somebody, it's because you weren't taking proper care.
We don't use the word accident because it wasn't an accident. It was directly as a result of someone doing or not doing something. A choice to do something that was illegal and unsafe, or being careless and not doing the thing you were supposed to be doing, like paying attention. So every major collision is going to be avoidable. Even minor ones, while avoidable, we understand that they're going to happen anyway. And this is all Vision Zero spiel because it's accurate. It's absolutely accurate. Here's a question. I have my motorcycle license, but only my beginners. That would be an M1 in Ontario. So am I allowed to drive my bike alone? Actually, you're only allowed to drive your bike alone, and for good reason, because you would probably give any other motorcyclist riding on the back to supervise you a heart attack. I will not ride with you on the back of no. So yeah, you're allowed to ride half an hour before sun up, half an hour after sundown. No highways that are over 80, I should say.
Sorry, I have to correct you on that.
Except for certain exempt
No,
ones.
your hours of operation, it's a half an hour before sundown, not after, and it's a half hour after sunup.
I think it's the other way. I think you're allowed to go up before and after.
Oh, here we go.
We got a challenge. Hang on a second. These happen every once in a while. Who's faster? Who's faster? Okay. Okay, motorcycle. Let's see. Which one is it going to be? We're going to find it. Unlawful hour.
Yeah, that's
half hour. You're allowed to drive 1/2 hour before sunrise to 1/2 hour after sunset.
Okay, well, we're going to have to put one up in the...
This is friendly banter. We have had the same conversation like 3 times when it comes to bicycle helmets. It is hilarious. But you think we're so set in our ways. We think we remember something a certain way. That's too funny.
So you know what, Sean? This was probably something that's ingrained in my mind from when I had, back in the day, it wasn't an M1, it was a 90-day learner's permit. And you just didn't drive if it got dark.
And why would you?
As soon as the sun went down, you couldn't drive. So you know what? They've obviously changed it to 1/2 hour after.
Well,
so
here's the thing. If the sun goes down, you weren't paying attention, or you see it start going down, you can't control it. It gives you that leeway to get where you have to go because no one plans properly. But
so there's the government being a little softer on.
There you go. The one time.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to put that up on the board.
Awesome. It's okay. We'll even out because the next one you'll be right. We'll be back down to 0. We don't actually get higher than 1. It's back and forth. We lob the ball. Let's see here. Can you drive in the center of the road if there's no lane markings or lines in a rural road? What? That doesn't sound very safe.
So the lines are there to assist you in traveling safely. If there are no lines, then yes, you can do it, but why would you? You stay to your side of the road just in case an event is going to happen that you have to move over for. Obviously, you have to be at the far right-hand side of the road to allow vehicles to pass or move out into the roadway. So, yes, you can drive down the center of the road.
For a purpose, but not just to hang out there. Who's to say?
You know what? You can, but
Sounds like such a bad idea.
You put yourself at risk. There's no marked lane there for you but everybody expects you to be on the right-hand side of the road. If you're pulling out of a driveway, and now it's your responsibility to make sure that the road is clear, but they're going to expect you to be on the right-hand side of the road. then you put yourself in a situation that may
You'd be
cause a
responsible
collision.
for bad things if it happened.
Yeah.
I've been doing my driver's education, and in one of the activities, there were 4 of your videos. No kidding. Who is teaching this course? I want to know. That's awesome. We're glad that our content's being utilized to teach drivers, because we do this to teach. We do this to help. It's all about traffic safety. And if someone is utilizing our information to make the road safer and help drivers, and we love it.
Are you getting royalties, Sean?
I don't get royalties now, so but at all. It's all good. Can you become a cop if you have a police record, not a criminal record? So what is a police record? Like a traffic ticket? The truth is that we look at, I say we like I was there, the police service looks at you as in a holistic way. If you had stuff that happened when you were a kid, and you got a bunch of tickets when you were a kid, and you weren't a great driver, or you had some issues with speed, but you didn't continue that behavior, you grew up, you learned something from your mistakes, and you became a better driver, and you respect the laws, then you probably could still be a police officer. If you got a suspended license last week because you were stunt driving, you're probably not getting a license, getting hired with us. Just saying. I think I can say that without having ever worked in employment.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with you. You know what? To be a police officer, it's a tough job, but we don't want people that have never done anything in their life. We don't want people that haven't experienced anything in their life. So each application is judged on its own. There are no set rules.
I long time ago, a friend of mine was an auxiliary with the OPP, and I was looking to get more information about becoming a police officer. So I went to speak to the officer that my friend was riding along with. And I said, I'm interested in becoming a police officer. Tell me. So he sat me down in a room and gave me an application and talked about all the different things. And he said, so have you ever smoked marijuana? And I said, no. He says, you can tell me the truth. I'm like, but no, I haven't. He says, we want people who have experienced things, and you can articulate that you've tried it and it wasn't for you. But I've never tried it. Like, he didn't believe me. And the truth was I hadn't tried it. And but his point was that it's okay. Whatever you've done within reason, and it's better to be honest and truthful if you had done something. In this case, he just didn't believe me. But anyway.
I can imagine that if you were not truthful with the police service you're applying for and it was caught, you're automatically gone.
Oh, yeah. Lying is the biggest thing. And now, Ontario is one of the only, it may be the only province that doesn't have a lie detector test as part of the application process.
Yep.
Ontario law says that's not permitted, but elsewhere, so I forget where it was, Lethbridge, Alberta. A friend of mine who was a court officer with me here went to Lethbridge, and he flew down for the test, and they gave him I think you can download this. If you go online, you can get the Lethbridge prep test to tell you what questions they're going to ask you on the lie detector. And it's wild. The questions are very, very in-depth. And I wouldn't feel comfortable with half the questions, just because they're uncomfortable questions, never mind whether you did it or you didn't.
You realize you've sold it so much that right now there's a whole bunch of people that
We're
are
breaking
typing
the
Lethbridge.
internet. Yes. Check it out. Let's see here. Is it recommended to call the police whenever a motor vehicle collision happens, big or small? Well, we actually have a simple criteria. We have a website with information. You can go to a collision reporting center if you don't meet, or if you meet or don't meet certain requirements. So anything with where there's no one injured and the collision is under $2,000 total combined amongst all vehicles and property, vehicles involved, under $2,000, you don't have to get police involved, assuming there's no criminality, there's no issue with identification insurance and so on. Then you can exchange information, and that's not even a reportable one under $2,000.
Right. So the Highway Traffic Act says if any of those criteria do not fit, a provincial collision report must be filled out, and it must be done by a police officer. So it doesn't have to be done at the scene all the time. It could be done at the collision reporting center.
And then if someone is injured, they're going to hospital by ambulance, we're going to be coming to the scene. So obviously you call us. If someone's drunk or high or there's a criminal element there, or doesn't have a license, doesn't have insurance, that's the time to call police and get direction at very least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here. Scrolling down to the end because there's a whole bunch of stuff. Have you pulled over cops if they're driving bad? Have you ever?
I have.
I've never pulled over a police officer.
I have.
In a police car. I've just never seen anybody doing anything that.
Police officer in a police car? No, I haven't.
Oh, they said police officer for driving. I've pulled over a police officer who happened to be undercover at the time, but he was speeding, and I pulled him over for speeding, and it turned out he was lawfully doing it on duty. There you go. Okay. It is definitely more time than we had planned on spending today, but there were so many great questions, and there's still so many good questions here. But we have to say goodbye. It's sad, I know. We'll be back on Monday, 10 o'clock, to do it all over again. If you have more questions, or if you want to make sure that you get your questions answered because you cannot wait until Monday, go onto Volley app, www.trafficcop.ca. That will take you to our Volley app. It's a community. We've got just under 90 people, 87 people. So if you join that, you'll be able to communicate with us, and we'll try and answer your questions when we have some downtime. In any case, we are gone. Have a great weekend. Drive safe, drive sober. Enjoy the weather. It's supposed to be beautiful. Yeah, sounds good.
Hey, Sean. Have a good weekend, everyone.
We're gonna leave the show with the same song that we play every day because I love it.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.